everyone. Welcome to Fire Pit Talk with James and Miles. This is our intro episode. In this episode, we're going to be discussing why we got into this and what our initial ideas behind creating a podcast were.
Yeah, basically we're just going to be talking about motivationals, what brought us here, why we are here, what we're going to do here. So, let's get started. Miles, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, so we were sitting out here, out at the fire pit, a couple of nights ago. I'd say, 2-3 nights ago, and we started on the subject of abandoned places. We went from abandoned places to a commercial break of melting gummy bears in the fire, because James bought like a 75-pound bag of gummy bears.
3-pound bag of gummy bears.
No, it was a 75-pound bag. It might have had like 1,000 gummy bears in it.
Majority of them in a fire pit.
Yeah, majority of them ended up in the fire pit. And we were like watching them like melt and like...
Pretty funny.
It was actually kind of funny. What socks? And so, after melting these gummy bears in the fire, we realized, actually it was before, but we realized we needed more wood. So we went and we got more wood. And actually, now that I'm looking, we had probably enough wood to burn for the night.
Yeah, but we needed to stop so we can leave right quick.
Well, yeah. So, and then we got back and we started talking about paranormal stuff and aliens and, demons. And,
strange happenings.
Yeah, strange happenings.
Unexplainable, otherworldly talk.
And spiritual things and all this other stuff. And James looks across the table at me and says, Miles, we should make a podcast. I said, heck yeah. Except, I didn't actually say heck yeah.
You get what we're saying.
Yeah, you get what we're trying to say. But, so, our idea was, when we come out here to the fire pit, or just whenever we talk in general, and a lot of this discussion and future discussions are going to be at the fire pit. But, so, our idea behind it was, when we come out here to the fire pit, we can talk. I think we talked last night for like 3 hours.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So,
we can talk forever. So the idea behind this is we talk and we come up with, interesting happenings and interesting goings-on from the week before, and then we just kind of report on what we found. And, like last night, we were talking about Malaysia Flight 370 and the toxic woman and just other interesting things that we will be covering here soon, but we just don't have enough time to do right now. And because this is our intro episode, we wanted to explain why we got started doing this.
yeah, I agree with you there, Miles. It was definitely a night last night. Hearing all those stories relating, and then getting into a very grim topic of
Children
Malaysia.
crying.
Yeah, there's that. There's also...
You're going to hear a lot of that,
Yeah.
just because, currently our recording studio is
our fire pit.
outside on a block of wood. But, yeah, that's the beauty of fire pit talk, is, you're going to hear the fire. You're going to... Right now, there's no fire, because
you're gonna
I ran out
crying.
of money for wood. But you're going to hear babies crying, which we'll try and resolve that. You're going to hear, the birds, you're going to hear,
dogs.
crap out in the woods, you're going to hear dogs. But the basis behind this is, when you go out and talk with a buddy, I'm just going to assume that you have friends that you go outside and do things with. But when you go out and talk with a buddy, or a couple of buddies, you continue on subjects, but then you find new things, and it's just a lot of fun, And that's the basis behind this, is we want to have fun. And eventually we'll be starting to take some of y'all's stories, and we'll be reading them on the podcast, and, you live anywhere near North Carolina, you can come join us maybe one night for an episode, It should be fun, but we just have to see how it goes.
I agree with you there. I think we're going to try our best to connect with the people. I know there's some people out there who have good, crazy stories and think that no one's going to believe you. Like, oh, no, this never happened. You're crazy. You're not crazy. We want to hear your story. Because we, too, have seen some crazy things.
Yeah, and that's the, so I'm going to come into all of not necessarily. I'm going to come into all the stories with a skeptical point of view, because is there a way that it can be explained? Yeah, maybe. But the beauty behind this is I'm going to come into it from a skeptical point of view, but I'm not going to let my feelings get in the way of your stories. We're not going to report on. We're going to use our opinion. This is going to be completely unbiased. We're going to just throw in whatever we think about it. First topic being Malaysia Flight 370.
That was the talk last night. That was interesting.
That was a large part of the talk last night. And, we just would kind of interject with each other and just throw in, whatever we thought about it. And
we had a lot of opinion, went from abandoned places to melting bears and Malaysia 370. There was also Toxic Woman. There was a lot of stuff last night. Main topic was otherworldly things or crazy happenings.
That was our initial idea for the podcast, was otherworldly stuff. And then I kind of just stepped back and looked and saw that, there are a lot of otherworldly or strange podcasts out there. But there's not a lot of just, talk. And a lot of what you're going to hear is going to be unedited, straight from us. And, we appreciate your feedback.
Have to keep it real with the community. You can't just put out some fake stuff just to get clout.
Yeah. You gotta put out the real stuff. And
can't forget about the Warminster thing.
You can't forget about the Warminster thing. We did talk about that last night.
That's very brief.
That's going to be a topic of conversation. We're going to talk about UFOs. We're going to talk about ghosts. We're going to
plane crashes, car crashes, buildings, all that crazy. Anything historical that has happened.
Yeah.
Not just historical.
Yeah, not just historical. But one of the things that we're going to talk about is, if we find something crazy that we think is crazy, it doesn't have to be a paranormal experience. It could be like, people think that dogs are inherently aliens. I don't know. Or, what's his name?
You can share with us childhood stories.
What's the guy's name who owns Apple?
Oh.
No, Facebook. Sorry, Facebook.
His name is Zach
Zuckerberg. Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg is an alien. We're just gonna throw out whatever weird crap we found throughout the week, and we're gonna talk about it. Hopefully, this will be weekly. We don't know yet.
As we get bigger, though, more followers, more subscribers, more help, we really would like to hear from y'all.
Yeah,
we put in the comment section story, or you can put your number in and we'll contact you separately to hear your story.
Eventually, we will have, once we get a lot of followers, we'll get a dedicated phone line, and we'll have a landline, and we'll have a voicemail set up on that, and, just put in your stories, and if we think that
you can even email them.
Yeah, you can email it, and we'll have all that in the link in the bio and stuff, and we will find the best story. We'll do not every other, but once a month, one of the Saturdays or Sundays that we do this on, might even be Fridays, one of those days will be a subscriber special. Mm-hmm. And if we can get you here,
sit at the fire with us.
We got 4 chairs. We got plenty of
wood, plenty of gummy bears.
Plenty of gummy bears, and we'll just, chill out here and recap your stories.
I like that. I think that's definitely a thing we should get into. Now, here, I want to talk about us, Miles. If you want to introduce yourself, give the viewers background.
So I'm Miles. I'm 16. Don't really have much experience with a lot of this stuff. In fact, I just kind of got into the paranormal side of stuff about a week ago. But I've had a couple of paranormal experiences throughout my life. And we'll get into those later episodes. Well, we could actually get into them later in this episode if we wanted to. But so I've had a couple of paranormal experiences throughout my life. I believe in aliens. I believe that there is a God, specifically the Christian God. But again, a lot of that stuff is based off of skepticism, and we don't exactly know. And so that's what we're going to talk about a lot in this podcast, is stuff that really has no explanation. If you can put the backup behind it, you don't have to show us photographical evidence or recordings of weird noises, but whatever, if you have a solid, valid argument, we're going to take a look at it, and we'll read some stories on the podcast from different subscribers, and just talk about different things. Really, there's not much else about me other than I watch NASCAR. I know we just lost a lot of followers, if we had any, if we ever get any. But like racing. I like human interaction. I tend to not use a lot of technology, which is kind of funny because we're making a podcast.
I'll get you in the loop of that.
Nah, don't really care. But now to James. We're going to learn about James.
All right. I'm James. I'm 17, co-founder of this podcast.
Actually, the guy who created the idea.
Well,
so
yeah.
technically, you're the
Technically,
founder.
I'm the Mark Zuckerberg of podcasting here.
And I'm the
Crazy
No, you're
CEO.
You're the what's Amazon guy.
Oh, Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, you're Jeff Bezos, and I'm the guy taking an unauthorized bathroom break in your Giga warehouse.
Yeah, I'm 17. I love the paranormal. I've been in it for 4 years now. I've had plenty of experiences on my own. I watch plenty of podcasts, watch shows about that stuff, try to learn more so I can better understand your situations. Has nothing to do with the podcast, really, but I am a foster child, so I have a lot to talk about there. If you have any of those experiences too, you can also come and talk. Yeah, that it's pretty crazy life that I live with that, but I have gotten used to it, and I know the good and bad outcomes of it. I wanted to start this podcast because I feel like with all the knowledge that I and Miles have, we can use it for the good, share it to the community.
Miles does not have knowledge.
He'll get knowledge eventually. If y'all could take a part, I would love for the community to be a part of this. Eventually, when we get merchandise, we'll be accepting donations so that we can keep the show running.
We will definitely have merchandise further down the line.
All of it will be used for merchandise. We're not going to take it and go buy a Lamborghini, unless it's a company car.
We ain't going to be the, and so if you do choose to donate, this isn't going to be a thing where we're just, running off your funds. I'm a high schooler. James is a senior in high school? Junior in high school.
Next year.
I'm a junior in high school. We both, we're both still young. We both still live with our parents. So, we're not, what are we going to use, a bunch of money for? The only thing we're going to use it for is better equipment for the show,
buying merchandise,
and merchandise,
hiring people to get us our merchandise.
Yeah, and we'd like to eventually make this thing fairly big, but I think this is something that could take off if we continue with it. But a lot of this is going to be from the heart, really kind of our own experiences. We're going to hit the paranormal. We're going to hit
otherworldly. We're going to go into life situations.
Yeah.
Incidents that happened a long time ago, but that stand out.
There are some things that we will not be discussing, though.
We will not be bringing politics into this. Religion will not be into this because we do not want to be biased towards your opinion.
Now, you can send in your stories. We'll read them. We just won't read them on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, if you want it in there and we are allowed to edit it, we will make it to where how you want it, but try to keep it within our limits.
Yeah.
We greatly appreciate it.
Keep in mind, we don't feel like getting canceled.
That too. I don't want to be canceled.
But yeah, so a lot of this podcast is really just going to be, heart to heart. This is how I feel. And I grew up in a logic school, so a lot of this is going to have some logical background behind it. Not that it's going to discount the paranormal. So, for example, and we'll get into this in a further episode, Malaysia Flight 370, there's about 5 ways that it could be logically explained.
I had explained those earlier. They are all very baffling. There's so many things that could have happened.
Yeah, there are ways that can be logically explained. However, there's so many gaps in the evidence that it's almost illogical. So, I will be bringing logic into this. I will be, doing some logic backing up. We will be researching all this stuff. Oh, there's a spider. There's a big spider.
Where?
He's on the paper plate.
He's on the paper plate now? Oh, that's nothing. Oh, that's fine. Stop being scared.
Look at him.
That's
Oh,
fine.
jeez.
All right, next.
Oh, he's dead.
Anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
Yeah, we get a bit goofy at times. We see some that pops our eye and we're like, oh, look at that.
Yeah, we're gonna have some stuff about that, and so a lot of this podcast is currently being recorded in the day, but we're gonna try and record this at night a lot of the time. We're gonna be looking up at the sky. We're gonna be having some of our own instances. Eventually, we will get a camera.
We will be going to abandoned places to better set the mood. 1 week we might go with scary haunted houses that were been abandoned for 200 years. We'll go hang out one of those. Or, oh, there's a nice trail here that is very significant. We can go follow that.
Yeah.
Might even be in our bedroom or our backyard at the fire pit, because it's called Fire Pit Talk.
We could do an episode in Devil's Tramping Grounds.
And subscribers, if you have any locations that stick out to you that are near us and you would like us to
If you have
visit,
any locations that stick out to us that are not 5,000 miles away, we'll go there. It's got to be within like a...
Yeah, it's got to be like a 20-mile radius.
It's got to be... Google Map it. It's got to be within a 2-hour drive of Raleigh, North Carolina. Because I'm not going to give away where we actually live.
Yeah, that's confidential. But we'll be glad to know where you live.
Yeah, we'll be glad to know where you live. That'd be fun. Although, if you do end up sending in your stories, if there's any part of it that you don't want to be read on the podcast,
Put it in the story or put it in the email you send us.
yeah, you could just let us know that, hey, leave, my name out, or substitute this name in, or, just, and we accept, all types of people. We understand that, certain things happen all over the world. If you feel like your story is, if you have been afraid to tell your story because you think that nobody's going to believe you, or that everybody's going to be skeptic of it, if it has even an ounce of validity, no problems here. If you can, and it's even better if you can say where it happened, the day that it happened, the time. If you remember the time that it happened. You can do stuff like that, and that even further validates I can't talk. I lost the ability to English. So it would even further the validity of your story. And, the most interesting story we will read on the podcast once a month. We'll pick the most interesting story from the month, and we'll read it at the end of the month, the last Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the month.
Gotta live by our motto, your story counts.
And, I know that this sounds like a lot of repeating ourselves, but that's because we don't have a script this episode.
Yeah, we are. This is just an intro. We're trying to let y'all know what we are all about here.
Yeah, and if you dislike, pine cones just fell out of the tree behind us, and I just about jumped 7 feet out of my seat. Feel free to, give us your feedback on the show.
Leave comments in the comment section. Email us.
Leave comments in the comments section of the YouTube channel that doesn't exist yet.
It will. There's also a comment section on the podcast.
There is?
So, yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
The more you know. But yeah, I think that, something... So, we're going to sign off for this episode, because this has just been an intro episode. This is just us testing the waters. We will eventually get a better microphone. We'll get some better equipment. We'll get a camera. We'll have a sign. Eventually we're going to get a mic.
What he's trying to say is eventually we'll be a legit podcast.
Yeah, eventually we'll have a legit podcast. Anyway, this has been Fire Talk with James and Miles. I hope that you've enjoyed it. And I've already botched the outro because it said it was Fire Talk, not Fire Pit Talk. But this is Fire Pit Talk with James and Miles. Hope
Have
you
a good
enjoyed.
day.